Well, good evening, the 24th of September, and I am particularly happy for being a Kenyan patriot. Why? And this is because our very own greatest of all time, the GOAT himself, Eliud Kipchoge, did us proud by making history, being the one and only athlete to have secured the 5th Berlin Marathon in a race that was ran today earlier in the day. And so much has been said, especially on various social media platforms, with some actually asking the GOAT himself to consider hanging his boots. And as far as racing is concerned, well, he himself, Eliud Kipchoge, is eyeing the Paris Olympics that are set for 2024. And as such, we ask you, what's your opinion following that particular win by Eliud Kipchoge? We welcome your feedback. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. But before we get to the details of what has been happening in the sporting arena, including that particular match between Tottenham and Arsenal, well, let's have the highlights. The legends rebound while record holder and two-time Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge secures his 5th Berlin Marathon title. Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is demanding immediate stoppage of deductions to the National Social Security Fund. Turkana residents demand solutions to insecurity and the high cost of living as the Senate begins its sittings in the county this week. Well, good evening. If you're joining us, this is Sunday Express on KBC Channel 1. I am Regina Manyara, and my sign language interpreter and colleague is none other than Lensa Odingo. Now, world record holder and two-time Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge lived up to his billing as a long-distance running legend, securing a record 5th Berlin Marathon title on Sunday. Kipchoge dominated the 49th edition of the German capital and eventually defended his title in 2 hours, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Kipchoge has now set his sights on the games of the 33rd Olympiad in Paris, France next year, where he hopes to become the first man to win 3 Olympic marathon titles and back-to-back victories.
We are underway.
It is 5th Berlin Marathon title for Kipchoge, who was seeking to break his own world record. The 38-year-old Kenyan set men's record of 2 hours, 01 minutes and 09 seconds in Berlin last year when he moved level of Ethiopian great Haile Gebrselassie on 4 wins. Despite running the slowest marathon of career in 2 hours, 09 minutes and 23 seconds as he finished a surprise 6th in Boston in April, Kipchoge bounced back in Berlin on Sunday. Kipchoge has won 5 of his 6 appearances in Berlin and in 16 of his 19 races, including 2016 and 2020 Olympics. Sunday's time was the 8th fastest of all time, and Kipchoge, who aims to be the first athlete to win 3 Olympic marathons next year, has now run 5 of top 8 times.
But it's victory number 5 for Eliud Kipchoge, 2:02.40 the winning time.
Another Kenyan, Vincent Kipkemboi, finished second in his marathon debut ahead of Ethiopia's Tadesse Takele, who was making his first appearance in the race.
Expecting to do the same, but it's not come as I expected. But that's how sport is. I want to really concentrate and get all the experience for the 21 marathons and put all the experience in next year in Olympics in Paris and try to be in the podium or to win for the 3rd time ever and make history.
In the women's race, Ethiopia's Tigist Assefa shattered the women's marathon world record, clocking 2 hours, 11 minutes, 53 seconds to retain her Berlin marathon title. She made her intention clear on her return to Berlin, setting lightning quick early pace before reaching halfway mark 1 hour, 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Kenya's Sheila Chepkurui held on second place in 2 hours, 17 minutes and 49 seconds, while Tanzania's Magdalene Shauri took that place. The previous world record of 2 hours, 14 minutes and 04 seconds was set by Kenya's Bridget Kosgei in 2019 in Chicago. For Sunday Express, I'm King Orimwangi.
Congratulations, Eliud Kipchoge, for that outstanding race there, Benin. We're asking you tonight, of what opinion do you have in regard to the athlete's career? There are those who have already taken to social media platforms to ask the greatest of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, to consider retiring from racing now since he is at the top, so to speak. What is your take? Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. Remember, Eliud Kipchoge has just said there that he is looking forward to the Paris Olympics. Now to politics. Kenya Kwanza Alliance leaders have strongly defended President William Ruto's administration against criticism over the skyrocketing fuel price and the high cost of living. Led by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, the leaders have instead called for unity of purpose in resolving the country's economic challenges. They have, however, accused their counterparts in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition of taking advantage of the cost of living for political mileage. Giverson Minor now reports.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula on Sunday rallied Kenya Kwanza Alliance Battalion in Kakamega County in Western Kenya for an interdenominational prayer service. The duo defending President William Ruto administration over criticism of the high cost of living.
Jana nimesunguka hii Western polepole nikiangalia vile watu wamelima. People are weeding the second crop ya mahindi mwaka huu. Production is increasing, so the cost of food will go down.
Wetangula said it was time for leaders to back the president in forging ways to overcome the problems bedeviling the country.
There cannot be any gain without pain. We know that there are challenges. We know that these challenges are not unique to Kenya. And we know that these challenges are not insurmountable. They will be surmounted.
Wakati uchumi unapokuwa ngumu, ni vizuri tuketi pamoja sisi wote tuweze kuangalia kwamba tunarekebisha namna gani uchumi.
Defending the taxes introduced by the government, Musalia on his side said it is time the country became self-reliant to reduce pressure on public debt.
Na tunaambia ndugu zetu, the leaders, both Kimani and Cheriota are here, they are leading the conversation. Kwa hiyo mambo ya bipartisan, they have been very clear that the interests of the nation will come first.
Tukiendelea kufanya mkopo kiholela kama vile serikali ilikuwa ikifanya, tutawaacha watoto wetu wakiwa katika madeni mabaya.
Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, and his counterpart at the Senate, Aaron Cheriot, accused the opposition of politicizing the cost of fuel.
The solution to the high cost of living is to make sure that our incomes and the incomes of our people rise in a commensurate manner with the cost of living.
Musalia and Wetangula made a passionate call for Luhya unity ahead of the 2027 elections.
It is easier for us to work with President Ruto to the election of 2027, and then maybe you can talk after that.
Musalia dismissing calls to vie in 2027, saying he will back President William Ruto for a second term.
Hata nasikia wengine mtu anasema, Weta atoke huko anaweka jam. Musalia atoke huko anaweka jam. Sisi hatuweki jam. Wewe uko kwa mrengo wako. If you are serious, don't blame Weta, who is in Kenya Kwanza. Don't blame Musalia, who is in Kenya Kwanza. If you think you are ready for the presidency, go for it. But don't say that sisi tunakuzuia, hatujazuia mtu. But we are just telling you the truth for free. Kwamba, is it really realistic that tutaweza William Ruto in 2027?
Giverson Minor, Sunday Express.
Still on politics, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says reforms in the coffee subsector are on course and that the government is working on policies to eradicate cartels who have been profiting from the hard work of farmers. Deputy President also dismissed claims of existing cracks in the Kenya Kwanza leadership in the Mount Kenya region. Tinio Marco with more.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has reiterated the government's plans to deal firmly with cartels in the coffee subsector in the country.
Watu watatu wanne, they buy our coffee at a throwaway price and they don't tell us at how much. Then wanaenda kwa wazungu wanauza bei kali, wanakula ile pesa iko pale katikati. Sasa tumeanza mabadiliko. Hao wabunge wametusaidia, hivi karibuni tunaleta sheria bunge. Hiyo sheria itasema kama wewe ni mila huwezi kuwa marketer. Kama wewe ni marketer huwezi kuwa mnunuzi.
Asking members of parliament to support proposed amendments to various laws that regulate the coffee sector, the deputy president noted that the revival of the new KPCU and the Coffee Board of Kenya are some of the reforms being fought by cartels. He at the same time assured tea and dairy farmers that the sectors were stabilizing. On claims of differences among the leaders from Mount Kenya region, Gachagua eyed the region to remain firm in support of the Kenya Kwanza government.
We have no structural deficits. Our walls are strong. What we have are cosmetic cracks. The driving force of this region is unity and hard work. And that is why this region will remain united behind President William Ruto for 10 years.
The deputy president spoke in Othaya, Nyeri County after attending Sunday service and a fundraiser at Kagere PCA Church. Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is demanding immediate stoppage of deductions to the National Social Security Fund. KUPPET National Vice Chairman Julius Korir says it is unlawful for the government to compel public servants to contribute to two different pension schemes. Korir was speaking at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University in Siaya County.
KUPPET National Vice Chairman Julius Korir says public servants, who include teachers, are contributing to the National Social Security Fund and the superannuation pension scheme against their will, terming the move illegal. Korir says teachers should not be deducted NSSF contributions until the matter, which is in court, is resolved.
We are still fighting. What happened? We have gone to court. Tulienda continue tukafikiri tutapata orders, court order, we did not get. So bado hiyo kesi iko kotini because it is unfair. According to law, you cannot have two pension. NSSF, alafu tena uko kwa hiyo superannuation.
Korir at the same time faulted politicians and other stakeholders for interfering in the running of the Teachers Service Commission.
And then, hii mambo ya walimu, wabunge, ambao wanapewa mabarua left and right. I saw the minister dishing out letters kwa funeral. It's unfair. I think there is something wrong. We want to say that wacha independent commission ifanye kazi yake kama zamani. The politician fanyeni kazi yenu.
He was speaking at the Jaramogi Odinga University, Siaya Town campus during the KUPPET Siaya branch annual general meeting. Siaya Governor James Orengo, who graced the event, hailed the union for championing the cause of teachers.
For this financial year 2023-2024, there is a fund that is targeting groups, and I think the most organized group or groups in the county, whether it is in forms of union or cooperatives or SACCOs, I don't see any groups that are better organized than the teaching profession.
For Sunday Express, I'm Zainab Said.
Now from Siaya to Turkana County, where residents want the Senate to prioritize the lowering of the cost of living, enhancement of shareable revenue and the improvement of security along the West Pokot-Turkana border. Speaking to KBC Channel 1 in Lordward Town ahead of the Senate Mashinani sitting set for this week, the residents called on the lawmakers to use the opportunity to reach out to the grassroots and interact with the citizenry. Meanwhile, preparations for the Senate Mashinani sitting in Turkana has entered its last leg today, Sunday.
Back to where it all began, the Senate has arrived in the crown of mankind, Turkana County. Beginning Monday, senators will carry out their legislative sessions in Lodwar as part of the Senate Mashinani initiative.
More importantly, again, as you've realized, the Senate has been setting aside Wednesday morning to handle questions. And the CSS will come to respond.
To locals in Turkana, however, the sitting presents a perfect opportunity for the lawmakers to look at the true face of devolved system of governance in the region.
Nataka niseme kwa seneta atuokoe tu kwa upande ya mafuta na chakula, pia atupunguzie bei, mafuta ishuke chini kwa sababu sisi sasa wananchi tunahangaika sana.
Locals tell KBC Channel 1 that the Senate Mashinani provides them with an opportunity to observe closely the steps being taken by Parliament to address issues bedeviling the country.
Wanyama yetu huko wanaumia, jua inawachoma na pia maji hakuna. Mtu ya pikipiki ukimwambia unibebe kuanzia kusoka hapa anakuambia 150 mpaka hapa. Sasa tunataka waseneta watuangalie.
The Turkana County Assembly becomes the third regional assembly to play host to the Senate after Uasin Gishu and Kitui counties.
Senate would have an opportunity to receive public petitions on matters affecting this county, ranging from matters from insecurity, food insecurity, issues of education, the land issues. You realize the entire Turkana County does not have title deeds.
While in Turkana County, senators will hold committee meetings, some of which include public forums with locals to understand the impact of policy and how it can be tailored to address the needs of residents. The 1 week-long sitting is also set to highlight existing as well as new areas of legislative business, as well as develop capacity and strengthen partnerships. For Sunday Express from Turkana County, my name is Gladys Mungai.
Now, Gladys Mungai as well as Kamchamadza are going to be in Turkana for those sittings and will be giving us detailed reports from Turkana County. Now, the Kenya Publishers Association is calling on the government to scrap off the 16% value-added tax on books so as to cushion parents from high cost of living when buying textbooks. The association's chair, John Kerry, made the remarks as he assured learners that the competency-based curriculum grade 8 books are ready and will be out by the end of December this year.
The Kenya Publishers Association has come to the rescue of parents burdened by the cost of textbooks by urging the government to reconsider the 16% value-added tax imposed on books.
We as publishers do not suffer directly. It is the end user because we load that VAT on the price of the book. So if a book was supposed to be moving at 100 shillings, we have to load 16% on it. And therefore, that teacher, that child, that school that will buy the book, will buy at an extra 16% of the price that we'd have sold the book.
While acknowledging that as much as 80% of books published are purchased by government and distributed to public schools, they said a big percentage of parents still grapple with the high cost of textbooks.
It's one of the points that we've been using to tell the government there is no point of loading these VAT on books because in any case, the government is a buyer of more than 80% of the textbooks that are consumed in the country. We believe that if we continue with the pressure on, we shall win eventually.
The publishers, however, hailed the new competence-based curriculum model and assured parents that the grade 8 books will be out very soon.
We as publishers are now ready to embark on the printing and distribution of grade 8 books for CBC so that they will be in schools by mid-December ahead of the first term that will start in January 2024.
The publishers further lamented the loss of 300 million Kenyan shillings annually to pirated books.
And now they have moved from the print to the digital. And I said it's very difficult to contain the digital piracy. I always try to compare it with the Greek mythology of that dragon called Hydra, where you cut one, three spring.
The publishers also say this year's Nairobi International Book Fair, slated for the 27th of September to 1st of October, has attracted a total of 120 local and international exhibitors.
2 sessions with Kenyan authors will happen at the book fair on Wednesday and on Thursday. These sessions will focus on, number 1, up-and-coming Kenyan writers, and number 2, the work of getting published and being published in Africa. We're very excited about building bridges between the industry and the literary community of the continent.
Serafina Nairobi for Sunday Express.
I hope you are familiar with the Greek mythology there that Carrier there was referring to. A hydra is this particular, what can I say, god or demigod that you'll find on the Greek mythology there that has various heads. You cut off one and another rises. That brings us to our first break. We'll be back in not too long with more, including sports. Do not go away. Good evening, this is still Sunday Express. Now, Kenya has successfully concluded her participation at the highest level of the high-level week of the 78th session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Dr. Alfred Mutua, says the highlight of what proved to be a historic and consequential week for the country's foreign policy and diplomacy was President William Ruto's address to the General Assembly, which challenged the existing norms and standards in the current global geopolitical configurations.
The 78th session of the UN General Assembly in New York concluded on a high for Kenya. President William Ruto led Kenya's delegation to the forum and delivered a well-received speech. The head of state noted the dysfunctional nature of the United Nations Security Council, occasioned by ideological and political differences among the major powers. President Ruto also briefed delegates on regional peace and security architecture, particularly Kenya's effort at silencing the guns in Africa. Kenya pledged to use her position as an anchor state and a guarantor of regional peace and security to leverage peaceful coexistence. Still, on matters of regional peace and security, the president appealed to the UN General Assembly on the need for concerted global efforts to aid Haiti, reiterating Kenya's commitment to supporting the Caribbean country. On the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, President Ruto chaired a high-level meeting of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change. At the same time, the Kenyan delegation, which included Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Dr. Alfred Mutua, used the forum to advance the country's economic, political and commercial interests consistent with Kenya's economic diplomacy ethos. Kenya established diplomatic relations with a number of countries, including Dominican Republic, Grenada and Haiti. A key outcome was the signing of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, which is essential in the provision of time-limited grants to Kenya. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Sunday Express.
Now, health and environment experts have expressed concerns over the resurgence of neglected tropical diseases in the country due to the effects of climate change and are now calling on the government to implement more effective strategies to address these diseases. Speaking in Migori County, Director of Population, Health and Environment at Amref Health, Martin Mushangi, says that Migori County is one of the regions with a high prevalence of bilharzia, with 18.9% of the population grappling with the disease. Mushangi also underscored the importance of the country's commitment to eliminating some of these diseases by 2030 in alignment with the global goals.
Water sanitation and hygiene is one of the key imperatives of controlling neglect and tropical diseases. Now, with climate change and with droughts, then that challenge is getting exacerbated. And therefore, you realize that communities who don't access clean water and safe sanitation are still getting more infections on neglect and tropical diseases.
Ikiwa ni ngurumo ya pikipiki sasa inaelekea mitaani. Ikiwa mshindi wetu wa leo wa pikipiki ni Joseph Kamau. Delivery tutaifanya. Zimefika Ruiru nami yako. Ogio. Kifungu ndio hiyo yako.
Nilikuwa nimejaribu siku kama 3 hivi. Nimeshida hii pikipiki Honda.
Amekabidhiwa mpaka stakabadhi zote. Yote inafanyika katika Lucky Game. Vurumbisha na star 570. Shinda pesa moto.
County Government of Turkana welcomes you to the Ehale Center in Lodo Town for the 7th edition of the Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival. From the 12th to the 14th of October 2023. Come, experience the origin of mankind with its unmatched beauty from the beaches of Lake Turkana to the oil wells of Lokichar. Live on Channel 1, Radio Taifa and KBC Turkana Service.
Now, before we get to the sporting arena with Bernardo Kumu, let's bring you up to speed with what has been making headlines across the counties, where biotechnology farming societies urging the government to expedite the approval of genetically modified cassava and maize to increase food production. This as Kenyans are being urged not to waste food during this harvesting season and instead donate the surplus to the needy. Details of this in our county news segment.
We start in Kigumu Town, Kirinyaga County, where residents have raised the alarm over the rising cases of insecurity within the town and its environs. They say the insecurity has affected their businesses as they have incurred huge losses.
Tukiwaambia kuna mwisi pahali wanakuja haraka, sio kuwapigia tukiwaambia tumeshika mwisi wanamaliza masaa 2 bila kukuja.
Hapa tunahangaika sana njuu vitu vyetu vya nyumba ikiwa ni mekongas zinatolewa.
The Biotechnology Farming Society is urging the government to expedite the approval of genetically modified cassava and maize to increase food production. Speaking in Alupe, Busia County during the Biotechnology Farmers Forum, the society's chairman Daniel Magondu affirmed the farmers are ready to adopt the new agricultural technology.
They are inserting and route trait in them so that we can have a tolerant crop that will produce what a farmer needs.
Meanwhile, women teachers across the country are set to gain significant advantages from a variety of resources, including laptops, loans and personal insurance coverage introduced by the Kenya Women Teachers Organization.
We facilitate for them to get loans to get that laptop so that the teachers do not carry heavy loads but can get it by just a button on their laptop.
And the United States Agency for International Development, through its Boresha Jamii program, has partnered with Boda Boda Medical Ventures to engage 2,500 Boda Boda riders in Kakamega County as agents of change in the fight against gender-based violence and teenage pregnancies.
The response is very, very positive because most of them, they're usually blamed for being the ones responsible for teenage pregnancy and all that. But you are coming out to say, no, it's not them to blame. The other people are doing this kind of thing.
In Muranga County, the Korea Institute of Maritime and Fisheries Technology has signed an agreement with Pioneer International University in Kenya to train over 400,000 Kenyans who will then get deployment in Korean maritime organizations.
Will indeed be of much benefit to our young people and also to the government of Kenya, which is always trying to create employment for the young people.
And residents of Mulot in Baringo County have benefited from an eye screening free of charge courtesy of a partnership between the Rotary Club of Masai Mara and the county government. During the exercise, over 50 residents were diagnosed with cataracts and were scheduled for surgery on the 27th of October at no cost to the patients.
We're trying to change that notion from the machinani level for all the relatives. They need to give the older people hope as well. Especially because of older age, people tend to lose their eyesight, and that's not the end of everything. There's hope.
Lumpasago Sacco held its annual education forum where members were sensitized on the best savings and investment avenues, as well as loan facilities available.
And that's why we've even started Trans Housing Sacco, so that our members now can again invest there. We buy land, build houses, under the government initiative of this low-cost housing.
When we come across applications by SACCOs and they want to undertake development of their properties, the county usually relaxes the regulations.
Finally, a well-wisher has donated food, clothing and other household items to Shadow Mountain Children's Home in Babadogo, Nairobi. Be called President Newton Nyarambi rallied Kenyans to be their brother's keeper and avoid food wastage that accounts for at least 30 to 40% of the production.
Our team members have been so kind to also provide some clothing, which will be very useful for the children that we have today.
Isufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Now, ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes on a radio broadcast or for your favorite radio show? Tonight, Akida Kasim is going to show you how radio broadcast works on tonight's episodes of The Process. Take a look.
For radio, also known as blind media, communication is so fast and the frequency is so wide that it connects people across the country. Radio has indeed come a long way in evolution. Back in 1895, it was the innovative idea of a white man called Guglielmo Marconi who started a radio in England. The current Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, was the pioneer broadcaster in 1928 when Kenya was a British colony, making it the first radio station in Kenya. Then it was known as the Voice of Kenya, VOK. Tonight we unveil our radio broadcast work. Before you tune in, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We begin with the news.
When you have persons, organizations who need to brief the media about something, so then you send a reporter there too. They get the gist of the press conference. We also get news from breaking news. A prominent person has just died. So again, that is a source of news, breaking news. Radio is about simplicity. You must be simple so that even my grandma out there in the village is able to understand.
After the reporter does the script, it then goes to the editor for copy cleaning. This means correction of facts, grammar, and final verification. This ensures the script is of high quality, it flows easily and is devoid of any information that could be slanderous and attract defamatory consequences. After the story is edited, it is posted into a news management system where the newsreader can access it in the studio for broadcast.
Naibu Rais Rigathi Gachagua yuko nchini Colombia kwa ziara rasmi ambayo itaangazia uuzaji wa kahawa ya Kenya.
What about a radio show?
Na ni kipindi ambacho huwa si rahisi kukifanya, ni kipindi kigumu na huwa kinatuhitaji nguvu kazi kwa sababu hatuko peke yetu, tuko kama watu 5 ambao tunashirikiana kukuletea kipindi hiki. Mimi, Dora, Wandago na vile vile pia Beki.
The breakfast show normally starts from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Before then, the presenters and producers have to put in a lot of effort in terms of researching on the topic of the day, selecting songs and basically preparing talking notes to keep you entertained throughout the show. Every broadcast comes with its own style. It is a job driven by wit, passion and energy. Those are 5 hours of nothing but great music, commercials, station jingles and juicy topics. Did I mention it sound interesting? Above all, content is vital in radio presentation.
Tukishaorodhesha sasa tunaanza kutafuta wageni. Wageni wanaweza kuwa wanasiasa, wanaweza kuwa viongozi, wanaweza kuwa wataalamu wa masuala mbalimbali. Hapo ndio sisi huwa tunaanzia kipindi chetu.
Kule kufahamu ya kwamba kila siku unapoamka kuna watu wanakusikiliza. Na basi kipi ambacho utawapatia wale ambao wanakusikiliza kila asubuhi. Kwa hivyo kwangu mimi hiyo ndio huwa naona ikiwa pressure, tukijua kwamba tuna wengine ambao wako katika uwanja huu, watangazaji mbalimbali na pia wanafanya show kama hii yetu.
Meet the radio producer. Her work is to plan the show and schedule the topics to be discussed on air every single day.
Every hour we have an engagement to the listener. So for 8 to 9 where we speak about topical issues, towards the end of the program we open our lines for them to give their feedback or ask questions about the topic of the day.
However, it is not the work of the presenter to choose music. The producer, together with her team, comes up with an advanced playlist for every show, but when a new song is released, it is added to the season playlist.
We always make room for, my playlist always has room for at least 2 songs per hour for the presenter. You know, sometimes you play a song according to the topic of the day, or maybe our listeners requested. We just make a small room, but we stick to the playlist of the day because we want the station to sound in a certain way.
After all is said, it's now showtime.
Umunya Zinga kwenye KBC Radio Taifa. Sauti ya Mkenya.
That's how it goes on behind the radio broadcasting. Here it's all about effort, teamwork, and passion among the producers and presenters to ensure your favorite radio show is nothing but memorable. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I am Akida Kasim Akida.
Now that you know that the music that you listen on your favorite shows actually is pre-produced to set a certain agenda. However, there's always room for, requests that are sent through by our audience, especially on the Sundowner English Service show there on Wednesday, where we have Wacky Wednesday with Catherine Donye there. She gives you an opportunity to actually send in a message on social media and just to request that song that you'd want to hear on the airwaves. Good job. Now, let's speak matters health, where whenever medical emergencies occur, rapid response in availing required medicine is essential in the patient's survival. It is for this reason that drones have become handy, ensuring timely delivery of emergency drugs in far-flung areas. Achala Simon explores the use of this technology in Kisumu and reports on how it has transformed the medical supply chain in the country, when the difference between life and death depends on how fast a patient gets the drug required.
Right in the middle of Chemelil Sugar Belt in Kisumu County stands Zipline Center, christened The Nest. And like the bird's nest where natural birds fly out in search of food for their offsprings, here, electronic birds fly out distributing medicine to health institutions in Kisumu and the larger Lake Basin economic bloc to save lives.
So we are supporting with the last mile logistics of medical products, vaccines and blood products to be also included as our use cases, as well as animal health solutions.
The center has coordinates of all the health facilities across the county, and once an institution places in an order, the drone is dispatched to the said institution within 5 minutes.
We can able to tell when the package, where the drone is exactly, the coordinates, the airspeed, and all the weather conditions that it makes this.
The past days, we used to go and pick the drugs from our sub-county, which could take around 2 hours or 1.5 hours.
The longest it takes to deliver the medicine is 20 minutes.
It is our responsibility as the health department to ensure that they are secure, they get the right commodities at the in the right amounts at the right time, as per the standards that have been put in place.
The center has a cold storage facility for preserving medicines that require such preservation, such as the anti-rabies vaccine, whose emergency order we managed to track.
Well, at it we just received information that they have received an emergency order from a Tamu Health Facility for an emergency anti-rabies vaccine, and we just get to see exactly how fast they will actually ensure that they package that anti-rabies vaccine and of course dispatch it to the Tamu Health Facility. Dr. just tell us first and foremost, how long will it take to package the anti-rabies vaccine?
Okay, so from the moment the customer orders, it should take less than 3 minutes for the package to be out of the warehouse and to the flight operations area.
The question then we'll ask ourselves, from here to Tamu Health Facility, how long will it take if you're using the road first and foremost, but also we get to know that they will not be ordering it from here. They probably will order it from Kisumu. How long will it take from Kisumu to that place, and how long will it take it from here to Tamu Health Facility?
Okay, so all factors considered, in normal conditions, the facility might take an hour, 24 minutes, an hour, 30 minutes to get all the way to town to get the product, and then an hour, 30 minutes to get back. So that's approximately 3 hours or more, depending on the road conditions and the weather conditions.
Mm-hmm. How fast are we likely to have it at the Tamu Health Facility?
Right now, the product will get there within 7 minutes.
Yes. How important?
So it is very important because now there is a patient waiting. The patient who is in a critical condition has had a dog bite. This patient requires this anti-rabies right now. And so we know that because of the current conditions that we're in and the way where Tamu is, by the time they get all the way to town, they might not even be, have the means to get the product from town to the facility. Mara nyingi tunasema hizi ugonjwa zenye zinaletwa na mbwa ama nyoka wanga zinakuwa ghali kwa bei. Sasa anti-rabies was something we couldn't afford to store in our facility.
Why?
It is very expensive, 1. 2, it is not there. And again, in our facility, I think we have a very small storage area. Now we cannot be able to store drugs like anti-rabies, oxytocin in large quality, and anti-venom.
At Miranga Health Center, the health practitioner places in an order for drugs.
Hi, good afternoon.
What would have taken an hour's drive to the Nest or 2 hours to Jaramogi Oginga Teaching and Referral Hospital is slashed to 7 minutes. This also resolves challenges such as lack of vehicle or fuel that often bogs down supply chain in public health facilities and sometimes leading to loss of life during medical emergencies.
I can remember back in time, back days, we had a patient who came in labor, but unfortunately the mother was having a condition known as eclampsia, the preeclampsia. Now we couldn't manage her because we could not get the drug in time, so we were forced to refer the patient to Masogo sub-county,
which again they didn't have the drugs.
The center also delivers reproductive health products to the youth at special events to counter stigma that often bars their access to such products.
Just from the late March, around March, April to now, we have already managed to reach 10,000 adolescents for whom in the normal circumstances, when we wait for them to come to our health facilities, we will not have seen all of them.
Achala Simon, Sunday Express, Kisumu County.
Game ikiwa ni ngurumo ya pikipiki sasa inaelekea mitaani. Ikiwa mshindi wetu wa leo wa pikipiki ni Joseph Kamau. Delivery tutaifanya. Zimefika Ruiru nami yako. Ogio. Kifungu ndio hiyo yako.
Nilikuwa nimejaribu siku kama 3 hivi. Nimeshida hii pikipiki Honda.
Amekabidhiwa mpaka stakabadhi zote. Yote inafanyika katika Lucky Game. Mita na star 570. Shinda pesa moto.
I take this opportunity to welcome wananchi, citizen voters at Turkana County for Senate Mashinani. This Senate Mashinani, all Senate from Kenya, all the 47 counties will be attending a Senate session in Turkana County. We are very happy as the Senator of Turkana County because it is a privilege, it is honor for the Senate House leadership to consider Turkana for Senate Mashinani. Because for Senate Mashinani, citizens will be involved in making decisions, in making the fundamental problems they have been encountering in their everyday life. And this Senate Mashinani, with the role of the Senate, that it is representing the citizen making of law and oversight. So that opportunity will be taken to assess, to protect what Turkana is, because people have been hearing of Turkana, reading in the newspapers, seeing on the TVs what the Turkana it is. So, as a representative of this area as a Senate, everything in the Senate is well prepared. We are ready. The ground is very ready for the Senate. In terms of facilities, accommodation, halls for trainings, they are very ready.
Yes, indeed. Time for sports. A very good evening. Welcome to Sunday Express Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu, and let's begin with athletics, where President William Ruto led the country in celebrating Eliud Kipchoge's win of Berlin Marathon on Sunday. Kipchoge's victory was also saluted by compatriots in Iten and Eldoret, who followed the race on big screens mounted along Uganda Road. Now, Kipchoge won his 5th marathon title in Berlin after completing the race in 2 hours, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. President William Ruto congratulated Eliud Kipchoge for attaining a rare achievement of winning 5 Berlin marathons, a first in the history of the race. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua also commended Eliud for the win, saying the victory cemented his legendary long-distance running status. Opposition leaders Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka also hailed Kipchoge's Berlin marathon win in tweets shared on their X status. And in Eldoret town, hundreds of athletics lovers thronged Uganda Road to witness the race courtesy of the viewing screens mounted by Uasin Gishu County government. And in Iten, upcoming marathoners and athletes alike also followed the race closely, cheering on the Kenyan men's marathon record holder. And defending champions Gor Mahia held Kakamega Homeboys to a 1-1 draw in a Football Kenya Federation Premier League match played Sunday at Buhungu Stadium in Kakamega. Now the draw moves Gor Mahia to second spot on the standings with 8 points, while Kakamega Homeboys occupies 11th position with 4 points from 4 games. In another match, Posta Rangers returned to the top of the standings after beating Moranga Seal 1-0 at St. Sebastian's Park in Moranga. Rangers amassed maximum points to dislodge Kariobangi Sharks at the top on 10 points. Visiting Bandari held KCB to a goalless draw at Moi Kasarani, while Nairobi City Stars beat Nzoia Sugar 2-1 to clinch their first win of the season, which moved them to 10th place with 5 points. 2010 champions Ulinzi FC also beat Sofapaka to also collect their first maximum points for the campaign. The win lifts the Soldiers from bottom of the table to 15th position. And to swimming now, where Seahorses Aquatic Center, Sailfish Swim Club and Breeban topped the Nairobi County Aquatic Association Level 1 Swimming Championship, which came to a close on Sunday at Consolata School here in Nairobi. A total of 37 schools took part in the event that attracted more than 300 swimmers.
Mika Namoyi from Pro Swim Club Academy were among this weekend's winners after taking a time of 1 minute 20.60 seconds to emerge victorious in the boys over 1600 meters individual medley ahead of Mwencha Herrick from Kenyatta University and Brian Jeru respectively.
It's a good experience to be here today and swim here. It's good to travel somewhere and try new things somewhere, so that's why we came to here instead of remaining in Kisumu.
Joe Andrew took charge of the boys 10 to 11 years 100 meters individual medley ahead of Romney Onyango and Van Brussels, who completed the podium dash.
I just saw other people. First I started with running and then I just decided, my mom asked me and my sisters whether to do tennis or swimming. We chose swimming, so we started like that and now we've come here.
Ruth Wangari took a time of 1 minute 20.08 seconds to bag gold in the girls 14 to 15 years 100 meters individual medley.
I would like to see more swimmers go to the topmost level, the ones with the fastest times, level 3. We need to see more swimmers graduating to that level so that we can, you can see this one is very crowded. It's the entry level. And then there's the intermediate and then the upper level, which is level 3.
We must therefore then take the country to where we honestly ought to be. And I think for everyone involved, the children, the talent, the skill must be prioritized over every other selfish interest.
The event came to an end today with a total of 37 schools taking part. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well, thank you so much, Dan Wenda, for that report. And to a fairly new sport where the national women's lacrosse team intensified its training in readiness for the forthcoming World Lacrosse Super Sixes Championship, scheduled 6th to 8th of October in Canada. The 11-member team is expected to depart for the championship on October 1st. A total of 8 teams are set to participate in the 2-day championship that will feature top 3 teams in the sport that include Canada, USA and Hudson. Kenya, which will be participating in the championship for the second time after their 2018 appearance in the Under-20 contest, is hopeful of registering impressive performance.
My expectations are quite high. It's a better team right now. Everybody has been working seriously. But we are going to face tougher teams. The defending championship for last year World Cup and 2019 World Cup. So we are going to face tougher teams. But that will be a great opportunity because now we are going to face the good players overall. Yeah. So we hope for the best.
It's a game. We're still growing, but I'll urge the ministry to support us. We've been playing for quite some time, and it will be we will appreciate actually if they come in for us.
Kenya will face Haiti, India and Hudson in the preliminary round. The squad urged for the support from the government as they head to the World Games.
Sahii kuna improvement, siwezi sema ni kama hiyo. Wakati ya kwanza ilikuwa first time na unajua kucompete to the world level ikuwa rahisi, but sahii tumeprepare vizuri na nina believe kwa hiyo team.
The team of 11 is set to leave the country in 6 days. And we wish the national women's lacrosse team all the best as they head to Canada for the Super Sixes Championship. And the National Olympic Committee President Paul Tergat has hailed the discussion surrounding the shaping of upcoming sportsmen and women, as well as the governance of sports federations during the youth development seminar organized by the committee at the Manzoni Lodge in Machakos County. Tergat noted that the seminar provided a valuable platform for knowledge exchange, networking, and setting a collective vision for the future of the Olympic movement in the country heading to Dakar 2026 Youth Olympic Games. Now, Treasurer Eliud Kipchoge took the athletes and attendees through financial reporting and also the activities of the committee. The 3-day event brought together leaders and stakeholders from various sports associations and federations affiliated to the National Olympic Committee, and they discussed topics related to the Olympic movement in the country.
Discussed here, we are going to make sure that we implement them because the only way is to make sure that in every strategy that we have from the National Olympic Committee is to see to it that we make sure that whatever that we are doing for the betterment of our sportsmen in this country.
Basically, safeguarding is a very new topic that we are trying to push for, and being part of the Athletes Commission, we will be working together with the athletes to find out their challenges and to be able to resolve them promptly. So safeguarding is the steps and actions that are taken to promote the welfare of athletes.
And to English Premier League now, where Tottenham came from behind twice to secure a hard-earned point in the North London derby against Arsenal in a thriller at Emirates Stadium. Meanwhile, Chelsea's start.
I don't think it is, but it's going to be given.
It's a penalty.
Well, and that's it on Sports Desk today. And that particular one, Arsenal drawing 2-2 with Tottenham, in the North London derby at Emirates. It just like brings the curtain down on Sports Day. But also it was a great day for Eliud Kipchoge and Kenyan athletics in general. Regina.
Now, bringing up the question of Eliud Kipchoge, we had even asked our audience this evening, Bernard, what they think about, the Kipchoge's win and where he's setting his sights at, which is the Paris 2024 Olympics there. Trying to also make history once again. In your opinion, should he hang his boots, as some have already started saying on social media platforms after this particular win in Berlin, or do you think he should still proceed to the Paris Olympics?
Good thing with sports is that whenever athletes or sportsmen get closer to retiring, you never hear anybody saying they should be hanging their boots or anything like that. The body just gives in and they go quietly. Everybody will know that it's their time to give, to hang their boots or to go easy or take a back seat now. But for Kipchoge, he's still making history and setting the records. Of course, Paris Olympic will be the first man to actually win 3 Olympic titles. So that's what is in his sight right now. So he should go for it. What do you think?
So we need to trust him.
Yeah,
that he knows where his body's at.
Yes, indeed. We need to trust him, and he'll be going for that particular 3rd Olympic title, which is so doable and possible for Eliud.
Indeed, the greatest of all time, and he has put Kenya once again on the map for a very good reason. And on that note, The curtains close on Sunday Express tonight. Be sure to join in our rest of our colleagues as early as 6 a.m. tomorrow for Good Morning Kenya, where they bring you up to speed with what is going to be happening in the last 12 hours. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant week ahead.
Yeah, I'm Bernard Okumu. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.
Okay, so you want to register me?
Tuko hapa kaunti ya Embu.
Nimekuwa registered kama farmer
kupitia kwa program tunaita KIAMIS,
program ambayo inaendeshwa na National Government, Ministry of Agriculture.
KIAMIS ni Kenya Integrated Agriculture Management Information System,
ambapo